Welcome back to my channel. My name is Amber Ball, and today I'm just gonna do a little get ready with me and give you guys some inspiration for Valentine's Day. I shop my own closet, so everything that I'm gonna show y'all for my looks, I didn't go out and buy beforehand, just so y'all know. So I guess it's inspiration to explore your closet and use what's in there before you think about going and spending more money on things that you're only gonna wear for one day. But you know, it's Love Month, it's Black History Month, it's my birthday month. So I feel like very connected to this month. I fit into all of those categories in some way or another. I got my coffee that my husband made me. And, speaking of husband, I wanted to talk about the things that I learned during my first year of marriage. So I got married on December 19th, 2020. And, my husband's Black, so hashtag Black love. So the first thing that I would say that I learned is pretty cliche, but I feel like as I've been living a married life, it's only a year, but I feel like a lot of the things that I've learned have been recent, surprisingly. And the first thing that has really stuck out to me recently is that I need to love God more than my husband. And my husband's name is Aaron, so I'm gonna just be saying Aaron, just so y'all know. I feel like for me, we all have expectations of who we want our husband to be, what we want him to be like, the ways that maybe he's not measuring up to what we want. And it's almost like we put them, or our husbands, or I'll speak for myself. It's almost like I put Aaron in place of God. Like, he is supposed to check all these boxes, meet all of these expectations. And it's like, if I'm having a hard time, if I'm struggling with something, and I don't feel like Aaron's comforting me in the way that I need to be comforted, I can get frustrated. But, God has been telling me, I'm your comforter. Yes, Aaron can do so much, but he cannot be my source of comfort, my ultimate source of comfort at least. And things have been pretty, I would say, stressful. I'm usually not someone that stresses a lot, but things with work and stuff have definitely been stressful, and I can just get overwhelmed. And instead of going to God, I'm like, oh, Aaron's not doing this, Aaron's not doing that. But if I'm focusing on God, I'm not looking at Aaron's flaws. I'm looking at how great my God is, So that's a big one that has stood out to me. And even just looking at the ways that God has moved in this year alone in our marriage, and how we've both grown, both individually, but collectively as one flesh. Another thing, because I got my notes here, y'all, this is an important one. So I need to continue to do the things that I love before I met Aaron. And this is a really big one for me because marriage is bliss. Marriage, dating, all the good stuff like that. It's a beautiful thing. I think when you're in a new relationship, when you're in a new marriage, you can just become so overly focused on the other person that you just want to spend all your time with them. And it's just, just deadlocked into that other person. And I think that's something that I definitely found myself doing, not just being married, but even while we were dating. We dated long distance for about 9 months of our dating relationship. And I'll get into more details about those things, about our overall love story. At some point, we'll both do a sit-down video eventually, soon. It was hard, y'all. It was during the height of the pandemic. We didn't see each other for maybe 3 months. And man, it was like, so there was all this like romanticism about seeing him and spending time with him and going to Philadelphia. I was living in Boston. I'm from Boston originally. And, you know, you just get so caught up in those things that it's like, okay, but, you know, I need to still be focusing on other things and not just put all my energy and effort into this person. And now that I'm married, you know, doing this YouTube channel and getting back into like my fashion and, you know, just the things that I'm really passionate about. And I talk more about this in my other Get Ready With Me. But, you know, not just like working a 9-to-5 and just settling for that, but still, when I'm not making the money, doing the things that I would, you know, do for free, which is this. Yeah, like having my own goals, having my own vision, having my own dreams outside of Aaron is like, is huge. That has been something that I've been doing, and even like exercising. Like y'all, I love fitness, I love health, and I love to work out most of the time. And before the pandemic, I would exercise like all the time. I was a gym head. But once the pandemic happened, all these regulations came into play. Working out just wasn't really as much of a thing anymore because, you know, the gyms had closed down and just all the, y'all know, all the crazy stuff happened. And yeah, for like a year, I just stopped working out. Like a year. That's the longest I had gone without working out since high school, really, because I started getting into working out in college. So yeah, from college up until about maybe 2019, I was regularly working out. It wasn't until maybe like August of last year that I really started back working out like regularly, like minimum 3 days a week. And that has had such a huge impact, and I think I took for granted how much that really helps me and just makes me feel just better about myself. It helps me not, you know, be inclined to as much stress, take on as much stress. Yeah, it just overall helps me be a better person and a better wife. You know, my husband, he doesn't work out like in the gym. I don't know what he'd be doing to stay in shape, but you know, he just be in shape. Not gonna say I'm jealous, but it's not fair. I need to work out both for my, you know, mental health and to keep this happy weight at bay, even though it's still coming from me. So yeah, like exercise has been something that I love and that I've needed to fight to maintain, even though like I'm married and all that good stuff. Like, yeah, I ain't trying to catch nobody no more, but I still want to feel and look good for myself, you know, and for him. So that was another big one for me. Oh, and this is another thing I wanted to touch on too. This is, So, right, codependency. If y'all don't know what codependency is, it's basically when your well-being, your emotional happiness is literally dependent upon another person. So if this person isn't saying this to me, complimenting me, this and that, like I literally feel worthless. Let's say, for example, my husband, he goes out with some friends and he is having fun and he's out with his friends and I'm at home chilling. And I'm getting mad at him because he's out having fun while I'm home chilling. Like that's codependency. Like you need to be having your own fun, whether you're sitting at home, whether you go out with your girls, but don't like depend on him for your source of fun. Like create it for yourself. But yeah, like there's this book that I read a couple years ago. It's right here because I'm prepared for y'all. So it's called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. And y'all gotta check this book out. Like, it literally was transformative in the way that I thought about relationships, not just with Aaron, but just with in general, and really dealing with codependency, which is something that I was with certain people. It talks about, in a nutshell, in the church, and just in like, I feel like in the book talks about in the Christian faith in general, we can really just like focus on our spiritual well-being and disassociate that from our physical well-being, our emotional well-being, and kind of treat them like they're different entities. Like me praying, you know, listening to worship music, fasting, and all those things, I need to be prioritizing those, which I do need to be prioritizing them, but doing those things allows me to neglect working out because, hey, you know, I'm spirit, like that's my focus, or, you know, I don't need therapy, like I got my worship, I got blah, blah, blah. Like, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, but all of those things are one. Like, you need to address like your emotional issues in order to grow spiritually. You need to address your physical health problems in order to grow spiritually. Like, they are all interconnected. Even things like working out and eating properly, that's a discipline. Like, the spiritual walk is all about discipline, and you choosing to eat healthy is a discipline. Like, they all coincide with each other, you know. It's not, especially in the church, you know, people can be very, honestly, rude and very short and not tactful. And it's like, oh, but Jesus, he cut straight to the heart. He went straight to the point. Yeah, but one, Jesus knew people's hearts, one. So yeah, he was able to address people accordingly because he knew their heart. And two, like, that doesn't mean you can be mean or say things in a way that is hurtful and excuse it as like, oh, but, you know, Jesus, he didn't do the fluff, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Like, you're missing the point. Like, your emotional intelligence needs to like improve. So yeah, that's something that book really has helped me with. In terms of just finding my own emotional well-being and not relying on another person, or just like separating that from my faith. Yeah, they all tie together. So another thing is that the way that I speak to Aaron and just like the manner in which I address him, it really sets the tone for our marriage. This is something that I'm constantly having to be mindful of because Aaron and I, we have a very specific sense of humor. And one of the things that really made me fall in love with Aaron was that he understood my sense of humor. Like, people that know me know I have a very specific, you know, things that I find funny or things that I joke about. It's not in like a mean way, but I can just feel like I reserve it for certain people that I feel like will get it and understand it. Yeah, like I feel like sometimes the way that I talk to Aaron, even though I might be joking or maybe sometimes I'm not joking, can just not be the most encouraging, or just like the way that I say things to him. I can just be quick to say something discouraging or just cut him down. And it's not only hurting him, but it's like hurting myself. Like it's, especially when it's like returned, like Aaron, he's such like a patient, like loving person. Yeah, like I'll just be saying these things to him that are just hurtful, and he'll just sit there and listen. Like, he will just listen. After the fact, like once I've had time to like think about it and God like kind of checks me on it, I'm like, man, like he really could have like just snapped or said something in return, but he didn't. Like, and it just really like I don't know, like God just has been challenging me on that, but in such a loving way. Like he allows God to challenge me, you know? And that's something that I really want to do. Like instead of complaining or whatever to him, to Aaron, like I need to be telling God on him. And you know, let God continue to like transform his heart and mine. But through the process of that transformation, like I need to be speaking words of like encouragement and love. And if there is something that I need to address, like being very like loving about how I do it. Speaking of like issues that need to be addressed, another big thing that I've really been learning is if there are no challenges, then there is no growth. Before I got married, people would always say to me, this is when Aaron and I were dating, people would say, oh, like, marriage is hard, girl. Marriage is hard, okay? Stick it out, stay in there. It's hard, it's hard, it's hard. I'm like, dang, like, okay, I don't need the negativity. Like, let me get a chance to start before you come in talking about marriage is hard, marriage is hard. And, you know, I would become a little resentful. Like, don't be projecting your marriage onto mine. You know, your marriage is hard. And that was like my attitude, and it kind of still is. But I think now that, you know, Aaron and I, we only a year in, but you know, we've been through some things, some very challenging things. You know, the D word has been on the table. Just keeping it 100% real with y'all. I found myself like in these really hard situations in my marriage, and I'm like, dang, like, why? I should not be here. Like, we're only a year married. We should not be at this point where we're thinking about this, or, you know, I'm trying to find an exit plan. You know, like, I shouldn't be here. But I've also been reading this book, another amazing book called Blues to Bliss, Creating Your Happily Ever After in the Early Years. And this is a Black author. I believe she's Nigerian, and her husband is also Black. It's a Christian-based book. And something that book talked about is, you know, use the analogy of a baby that is newly born, right? Like, they cry a lot. That is perfectly expected of a baby. If a baby's crying, people aren't looking at that baby like, oh my gosh, is your baby okay? Like, what's going on? Like, they're like, oh my goodness, your baby is so cute. And like, healthy babies cry, you know, like that's what we would expect them to do. You know, even, I would even take it so far to say, if a baby is like newly born and they're not crying, like doctors or nurses, they get concerned. Like, is there something in its lung? You know, stuff like that. So it's expected, you know, that healthy babies cry. And this author kind of relates that to like a new marriage. Like a new marriage, if it is healthy, there are going to be like tough situations that y'all have to work through. Expect that. That's healthy. That's okay. More so, if y'all aren't having any challenges and y'all are newly married, like you should be concerned. Like that means that y'all ain't growing. That analogy like really stuck with me a lot. I was like, wow. Like I'm sitting here thinking like, we're only a year married, we shouldn't be having no problems. And for the most part, we really didn't have a lot of problems our first year. Like I said, a lot of these things have been coming up in year 2, which is like now. That was something that I was like, man, like if I'm not being challenged, if we're not having really hard conversations, then we're not growing. Okay, let me even out my eyeliner real quick. It's hard to talk and do eyeliner. Yeah, I did a little eyeshadow. I'm trying, y'all. Valentine's Day. Dang, I think I ran out of this stuff. All right, I need to get more eyeliner. But yes, like if you're newly married, expect trials to come. That's healthy. Yeah, another thing that I learned is affection, like no such thing as too much affection. Like Luther Vandross said, never too much. Never too much affection. Another little backstory about Aaron and I's dating, like we didn't kiss before we got married. Well, we didn't kiss on the lips. We did like cheek kisses and stuff like that, but we didn't kiss on the lips. We didn't live together. We didn't do any of that stuff before we got married. It was hard. It was hard, y'all. Again, we'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, like our affection while we were dating was very limited. When we got married, you know, we're already like, both of our love languages is physical touch. So now that we're married, like we don't hold back. Like as much kisses, as much random hugs, as much hand holding, as much everything else as possible. Something that I believe is that when you turn on the TV or you watch a movie, it is full of unmarried people doing married activities, if y'all know what I'm trying to say. You know, making passionate love and you know, doing all of that. Not having any type of commitment before God to each other. But what do y'all see on TV and movies about marriage? Adultery, unhappy, husband is trash, wife is unsatisfied. Two happy people in love in a marriage, you don't see that on TV. You don't. I barely see it in public. Like I don't be seeing married people hugging each other and kissing each other and holding hands. Like I don't be seeing that. But I want to be that example. I want to be that person with my husband who, yeah, we're married. Yeah, we've been married for a year. And yeah, we're not perfect. We have our issues, but guess what? Like, we're in love and we're committed to each other and we're gonna show it. We're going to show it for people to see. So, you know, that's something that I actually read about in another book. I know it seems like I read a lot, but I promise y'all I don't. The other book I'm talking about is called Friends and Lovers. I'm gonna see if I can link it below. But yeah, this book basically like is a married couple. They've been married, I think, for like over 20 years, maybe 30 or something, a very long time. And they talk about that. Like they talk about the importance of doing those things no matter how long you've been married, whether it's been a year, 6 months, 10 years, 5 years. Like, never stop giving that affection, you know, outside of just sex, like intimacy, you know, don't neglect intimacy. All right, it's time to apply my lashes. And as y'all know, I can't talk while I'm putting on my lashes. Okay, lashes are applied. It's so hard wearing lashes when your natural lashes are already long. They're like, whoa, 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 get up. What's up? So, another thing that well, I'm not gonna say that this is something that I've learned, but I think it's something that's been highlighted and definitely emphasized over this last year. And that is that we need community. Like, you know, we can't, of course, Aaron is my absolute best friend in the world, but he ain't my only friend. And I can't be his only friend. He can't be my only friend. And, you know, in order for our marriage to continue to grow, like we need people outside of ourselves who are going to like support us and, you know, pour into us and we pour into them. And like, I think when you have like really close friends and like mentors, it helps y'all to like see that the things that you might be going through are normal. Like, it normalizes stuff. And not to say like it minimizes it, but it shows that like, I'm not the only one who may be dealing with this, or this season that we're in, like this other couple, married couple, has also been in this season. It's just healthy, like, for me to spend time with my friends outside of him, or obviously we have our church community, and that's like a huge key, I believe, in avoiding that codependency, is us having community outside of each other that we can go to and that we can fellowship with and spend that time with. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, I know what I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting my setting spray. Ooh, so refreshing. Let me brush these eyebrows, and then we have our finished look. Oh, this is what I need from y'all. I need recommendations of a good contour and a good bronzer. I would say I more would like a bronzer, but I need clean products, meaning no like bad stuff in them, no bad chemicals, like clean. I tried the Charlotte Tilbury, but it wasn't dark enough for me. Like, I need a nice dark, like bronze me, please. Like, I just need to look like the chocolatey chocolate goodness goddess. No, I'm playing. But yeah, those are two things that I need. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know. Today, y'all. I know, it's so sad. I don't want to leave either. But if you made it this far, thank you so much if you're already subscribed. I feel like I always ask for you to subscribe, but if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. Like, I really, really, really appreciate it. And as y'all know, like, I'm starting out, I'm a new YouTuber, but I really love it. And I love creating community. So if you're married or if you're dating or whatever and you've learned anything recently or want to share anything, like, let me know, you know, like, what did you learn? Maybe I can learn from it too. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.